we're learning some new details now about the funeral for Queen Elizabeth to take place here at Westminster Abbey, just behind me on Monday. Tomorrow, the King and his 3 siblings will stand vigil beside the Queen's coffin as she lies in state at Westminster Hall. And then Monday morning, the day of the funeral, the Queen's coffin will be brought in procession here to Westminster Abbey for the state funeral service. World leaders and dignitaries will be in attendance, including President Biden. And then after the service, we'll see another procession through the city before the coffin is then placed in the state hearse for transport to Windsor Castle, where the coffin will have a committal service, and then we'll see the coffin lowered into the royal vault. Now, crowds are expected to hit over 1 million people in what will be the most complex security operation London has ever seen. And my next guest knows all about that. Nick Aldsworth used to work security for the royal family as well as the 2012 Olympics. He was head of security for and policing, and that is at Parliament. And the list of your accolades, Nick, is too long for me to read them all, but suffice to say, you know your stuff when it comes to security in London. So, Nick, thank you so much for coming on with us today. And I want to ask you about the planning that goes into this, because there are so many different pieces to Monday's procession and funeral. So what are all the different aspects you have to consider when trying to secure an event like this?
Well, the good news, Diane, is that we've been thinking about this for a long time. The great advantage of having a very aged monarchy is that you start these preparations a long time ago. And the first time I ever came across this plan was probably more than 20 years ago. So there are probably 3 main concerns that people will be focusing on at the moment. First, and probably the easiest, is the visiting VIPs, be about 120 of those. To keep things nice and easy, I think we're going to ask them to convene in a single secure location and then move them en masse to Westminster Abbey. That's great for them, it's great for us, because it reduces the likelihood of any of them being late and missing it. Then, as you're showing on the screen now, the next concern really is the sheer volume of people that are coming into and around London. We know that terrorists like to attack crowds, and of course we've now created a significant crowd. We have a terrorism problem in the UK, as we do across much of the world at the moment, and there'll be great concern around how that crowd is protected. But look, here's the good news. If you're going to do something like this anywhere in the world, do it in London. The Metropolitan Police Service are exceptional at delivering these sorts of events, even on this scale.
And I know police are coming in from all over the country here to London to help with that as well. But it's interesting because the British Army is playing a large role in Monday's ceremony. Could they also play a role in the security if needed? We are going to see thousands of soldiers here.
Yeah, so look, generally speaking, the civil power, the police and the military are kept at an arm's length. That's the great thing about democracy, is you don't look after the country using an army, except when foreign foe is at large. However, the actual royal bit of the ceremony, the casket being moved and VIPs being protected, those guys with swords, those are real swords, and they do actually practice using them. Once a year, the cavalry practice how to stop an attack on people that they're protecting. So if anybody's dumb enough to try and break through the crowd and have a go at that, then my advice to them would be really don't. But the military are there, and they are route liners, they are supporters. They're not there as an official security function, but of course, many years ago, we had somebody jump out of a crowd with what was ostensibly, it looked like a real gun. It turned out to be a fake gun to attack the Queen, and it was a soldier on parade that actually put a very quick stop to that particular incident.
And Nick, there have also been reports of protesters being arrested over the last few days. Some are calling that a breach of freedom of speech. As a security expert, what are your thoughts on that? Are these arrests needed to maintain safety?
So what's happened is a couple of things have been conflated. Arrests have been made in Scotland and concern expressed in England. The law that's being referred to is different in Scotland than it is to that which it is in England. And the powers used in Scotland were for offences that may well have been committed. In England, the law is very different, and as far as I'm aware, nobody's been arrested. But look, here's the thing around this, Diane, is the police and the military, they swear an allegiance to Her Majesty, or as will now be His Majesty. And I think all we've seen there is an individual officer perhaps being a little bit too defensive of his monarch. I don't see any systemic issues whatsoever around preventing legitimate protest. It's a well-established point in British policing that we are there to support and facilitate everybody's democratic needs.
Understood. Nick Aldworth, we appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.